Hi everyone, Leanne here from Jaded Blossom, and it is day 3 of our March 2023 release, and I have a card to share. Hey, so I'm using Jaded Blossom's Postage dies along with their Spring Word dies, and I am using their brand new Tulips stamp set, and that's what it looks like. And Stampin' Up's Designer Series Paper 2011 to 2013, die cuts with a view, foiled vellum pack, and American Crafts Christmas foil in gold. So what I did was I stamped it out onto Nina Solar White 80-pound cardstock with VersaFine Clear Nocturne ink, and then I stamped it onto the pattern paper, and I did some fussy cutting. And I used a Memento Tuxedo black marker to edge the pattern paper, just so it sort of, blends in with my stamped tulip on the white cardstock. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So I have a piece of Paper Trank white cardstock, 4.25 by 11, scored at 5.5 inches with my Martha Stewart scoreboard and my Teflon bone folder. And I cut out these patterns with the Postage dies. I'm trying to figure out a layout here. And I'm just trying to get like a, I'm just sort of going to layer these papers up and see what looks good is what I'm going to do. So here is the tulip with the stem. And you'll see that there's an outline, right? Because I fussy cut it, on the line. And I'm going to add all of the leaves. So really, it was pretty easy because this is a pretty easy image. Now, remember, you could use these stamps and layer with ink, which is fabulous. And I'll do that in another video, but I thought I'd use it with, with pattern paper for those of you that don't like to do all that fancy stamping or coloring. So there we are. So I'm just getting all of my leaves together, and I will weight it down with an acrylic block in between because I'm using art glitter glue and I wanted everything to dry nice and flat. So you'll see there's a nice white edge that shows a, white outline. Here we go. And now I'm going to put together this last, oops, I'm dropping things. I'm going to add this last little tulip top and I'll weight it down. And I took out Copic markers, and this is V28, and I'm just going to add some flicking color to the bottom of this, to the bottom and the edges of the petal, just to add some definition. Like, I'm not like a major colorist here. This is pattern paper, and it's not exactly paper that you can do a lot of ink blending on, right? So I'm just, flicking in some color, just to add a little bit of dimension, really, right? So nothing too crazy. And like I said, I used just one color, just that V28 for the purple and the YG95 for the green. So I'm just sort of running that marker along. And, later on I do add some dots just because I think it, to kind of make it look like it's not so rough, really. Because, I'm not really a professional at this, let's be honest. I'm sure if somebody was a Copic colorist, they'd be like squealing at my nightmare coloring. But, it works out. And I haven't had any complaints. So there we go. Like I said, it just takes practice. Okay, so now I'm going to add this, like I said, this YG95. Just some flicking. And hopefully it'll add a little definition to this tulip. So this is an adorable, well, not an adorable, a beautiful stamp set. I'm kind of looking forward to inking it and using distress inks on watercolor paper, like and spraying it with water. I'll do a video of it, in the near future, because I think that would just be beautiful. That's kind of what I'm thinking. And I might make some sympathy cards with it because you know how that's kind of my jam. I need to have a bunch of those in my stash because my husband is a partner at a national accounting firm, and they have clients, and when someone that they when a client's family member dies, they like to send out a sympathy card. So my husband, ends up sending out a lot of sympathy cards because he has a lot of clients. But I digress because, we are working on an Easter card today. So I cut the Easter greetings sentiment, and that is from our Spring Word dies. I cut that out of American Crafts Christmas foil, but really it's just gold foil, right? So I'm just using the gold. I'm using a skewer just to pop out the little innards of the letters. I'm not sure what those are called, and I cut the outline or the shadow layer out of vellum from that Die Cuts with a View foiled vellum stack. There's a bunch of vellum in the back of it, so I use that. So I'm just using my art glitter glue, and I'll stick down my foiled word onto the background of vellum. And I try to keep, obviously, the glue just behind the gold. I kind of dab it on. You don't want too much because it'll ooze out behind the vellum and then you're going to see that. So that doesn't look good. So I'm just going to weight that down with an acrylic block. I'm going to do the same with the word Easter. I love these word dies from Jaded Blossom. I just think that they are so pretty. I love the font. And it makes an easy card, right? You know, you didn't have to do any sentiment stamping on the front. And it really pops, you know, on the background. Okay, so now I'm going to see if I can get some things going. So I have a piece of that designer series paper on the inside of my card. It's about, you know, 1.5 inches wide. And I'm just going to add that. And I cut a strip of that vellum kind of diagonal stripe paper. And it's like about 1/4 inch. And I'm going to add a strip of that across that paper that's going to go on the inside of my card. And just to add a little bit. And remember, you can see through vellum, like you can see adhesive through it. That's why I'm attaching it to the back. And now I'm going to stick that down on the inside of my card base. And like I said, you know, just for a little something to make it look a little interesting. And then I will be adding one of these little tulips to the inside just by itself, just with a little bit of ATG tape. So there's that. And I will just rescore that fold with my Teflon bone folder. Now I'm going to figure out how I'm going to arrange the paper. And then I've got that vellum with the black, which I think is kind of pretty, right? So I'm going to add some of that in there. So I'm just trying to figure it all out while hiding my adhesives, right? Especially with the vellum. So I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to do and how I'm going to lay out my sentiment. But this is kind of how I work. So now I'm going to add on some adhesive to the back of these postage dies. And I'm trying to figure out how this is going to go. I do rip it up and mess around with it a bit because, you know, this is real when I'm creating a card, when I don't have a plan. I kind of had a little bit of a plan, right? I kind of thought, oh, how am I going to, you know, arrange this? And this is what I did. So I'm just trying to get it going. And then I will be able to lay my tulip onto my background. So I know this is really old designer paper. Now, close to my heart, I'm sure has new designer paper that you could use. It's all the same. Like they've got like a bunch of different patterns in whatever the end colors are for those years. Basically, that's it. So it's a lot of tone-on-tone paper that you can choose from. And that's why I decided to use it. So you could use any of the newer ones. I'm just using an older package that I have. And now I'm going to add in my vellum. And then I will stick down my tulip. I am going to use a little bit of score tape. That's that 1/8 of an inch one going down the stem. And I'm going to stick my tulip down flat. There we go. Because I'm going to be putting down those gold, the gold sentiment on the front. And I don't want to pop that up because, you know, it would be really fussy to pop that up. You know, if you popped up, you'd see it through the vellum. So you'd have to hide it behind the foil, and it's tricky. So I thought, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm just going to glue it flat. So here I am. I'm just applying glue to the back, just where the gold foil word is, trying not to let it bubble out. And I'm just going to line that up. I will do the same thing with the Easter word, and then I will weight that down. I just find it's a lot easier. There you go. So, and I will weight that down. So now I have a piece of twine. It's just gold twine. I believe it is from Stampin' Up. And I'm just going to tie a quick bow. And then I will be gluing that down. I'm just grabbing a pair of scissors to trim off the tails. And I'm going to stick that down underneath where the bloom of that tulip is with some art glitter glue. And just with a little dab. And it dries pretty clear, so, you know, it's not a problem and it's not too shiny. I was hoping to use one of my reverse tweezers to hold it in place, because that's kind of my jam, but I decided to weight it down with an acrylic block instead. So now I'm going to sprinkle some of these Lucy's cards, or little things from Lucy's cards, the soft snowball mix pearls. They're the white ones. And I'm just going to put a bunch of them, sprinkle them on the background of the card, just to add a little bit of shine, right? Bring out a little bit of the white shine, make it look pretty. Got to have a little bit of either glitter or shine right on your cards. I do pull out my Secure White Jelly Roll pen and add a few little highlights to the flower and the leaves, but I don't think I show that in the video, but you'll see that in the pictures that I take at the end of the video. And now I'm pulling out my Nouveau Crystal Drops in Mustard Gold, and I'm going to add 3. Just to add a little bit of gold, right? Because I have the Easter greetings in gold. Now I will tap them just so they flatten out a little bit. So that is that. So easy peasy stuff. So thank you so much for stopping by. Be sure to hop on over to the Jaded Blossom blog, Be Inspired, the Jaded Blossom store, to get your hands on the Gotta Have It Now. And thank you as always for watching my videos. And remember to come back tomorrow, because it's our hop and you're going to want to participate in that over on the blog. You could win a stamped set of your choice, which is lots of fun, and you'll want to get shopping. So thank you so much, and hopefully we will see you tomorrow. Bye everyone.